Today, if you're wondering how the Necron Startshatter Arsenal match up against the new Imperial Knights with the most recent changes, you're going to want to stick around because I'm going to be taking this 3-hour battle report, simply condensing it down into roughly 20 minutes, giving you what worked, what didn't work, and simply passing that knowledge on to you. Because I really do believe if one of us gets better, then we all get better. So, without further ado, let's get into this battle report. Now, I would like to preface that even if you don't play Imperial Knights or Necrons, I think you'll still get a lot of value out of this video today. So if you're playing Thousand Suns, if you're playing Space Marines, if you're playing freaking Gene Stealer Cult, we're going to be talking about a lot of different strategies from a broad or a macro perspective that hopefully you can apply in your next game. So if you're somebody that is just got into the hobby going into the holidays, or maybe you've been playing for a little bit, and looking to refine some of your skill, maybe going into your next game, stick around. I think you're going to get a lot of maybe aha or surprise moments as I talk about this game. All right, so without further ado, let's get into it here. So Take and Hold, we are playing today on Layout 3, Search and Destroy. And we are playing Startshatter Arsenal. And this is one of the newer lists that I've been running quite a bit lately. I've been having a lot of fun with this list. As you can see, it doesn't have any race and any warriors. And it does a lot of damage. It does a lot of damage. So we have essentially 3 Doomsday Arcs. We have a Ghost Arc, Silent King, Scarabs, Luminor Xeris. We have 2 Psychomancers. We have a unit of 2 units of Flayed Ones, and a Stalker, an Overlord with the Tachyon Arrow, Tomb Blades, just a lot of just different stuff that coincidentally just works well together. So going into this matchup, a big thing that we're thinking about with Imperial Knights is, okay, do we pass the damage check? Yes, we can definitely get rid of the holes. Now, the biggest thing with Imperial Knights with their changes is that they no longer have the 6-up Feel No Pain, which is a help. You, for the most part, no longer see the Knights that are spamming 4-up invols, which is not good for us for Necrons. So most shooting attacks, they're going to be saving on 5-up invols against our anti-tank, which is pretty good. And then the Helverins don't have anti-fly 2-up, which I did not know. I was like, wow, that changes things. Because if you guys didn't know, throughout the edition, those things can just freaking shred our DDAs. I'm pretty sure they're flat 3 damage, and they used to be anti-fly 2-up. But they no longer have that, and they're only strength 9. So they're wounding the DDAs on 4s, which is not ideal. So, definitely has to commit a few more Helverins in order to get rid of a DDA, which I like. And going into this matchup, he has 2 bigs, and then I think 9 littles, so it's 11 Knights total. And he has 4 of the Melta ones, and I think 3 Helverins, something like that. And then 1 in reserve, I think, was the split. So going into the game, we're more or less, trying same type of style as you saw from the previous battle report. Is I'm still going to bring up the Ghost Arc turn 1. What do you want to do about it, and see what happens. So going into the game, here we go. Now, we were a little bit short on time, so we didn't get to fully play through this game, but I'm still going to put up the battle report because I think we got through definitely enough where we can get an idea of basically what happened. Okay, so we're going to move up here. We're going to get first turn again, which, like I've been prefacing, I'm excited to tell you guys about, because going first right now, I feel like throughout the edition, going first has just been a little bit tricky. For most missions, it's always felt like second turn is a little bit more favored. And, I will say that I'm very glad that Challenger cards are just completely gone. I do really like where the meta is at right now. It's been a lot of fun. Maybe not the most fun per se with Necrons. I've really been enjoying this build. I've been having a lot of fun with it, just because you're not using race or warriors, which is pretty cool, and just a different way to play. And it just kills stuff, which is fun. But overall, the biggest thing that I talked about in previous battle reports is when you're designing a list right now, if you're looking at it and you're like, man, I don't know if I'm really that excited going first with this. Then I would probably go back and change some things, because I think the biggest thing is you need to have a list that you're excited to go first with, as just as much as going second. Okay. So we're going first. We're going to scout some things up. So we scout up our Tomb Blades. Actually, I don't have my pointer. I need my pointer. Here we go. Okay. So we scouted up the Tomb Blades. Scouted up the Stalker is going to get on the objective. Similar kind of pattern here. And then we're just going to shift up our resources. Now, we do have Mark for Death and no prisoners turn 1. I do cycle Mark for Death, and I get Cleanse. And the reason for this is because going first, I need to get points. Like, I need to get points. And so by not, like, getting 2 dud cards on turn 1, especially when you're going first, is like, you got to cycle one of those. Like, you got to hopefully just get some points on the board. So we got on to 0 CP, and thankfully we got Cleanse that we could easily do for 5 points. So Ghost Ark's going to cleanse. Stalker's going to cleanse. We give the Ghost Ark -1 damage from the Psychomancers, which are back here. And yeah, we essentially just pass the turn onto him. And you're going to see here that we're kind of staging everything up. I do have 1 DDA in Strategic Reserve, so I can either drop it on this firing line or this firing line. And then we have this DDA lining this objective right here, or lining that firing lane right there. Now, one thing I like to point out before we go into bottom of turn 1 is that we're always thinking about threats. So the firing line here, let me sure that is a little bit thinner. You guys can see. So firing line right here, okay? We're trying to make sure that he has to come over this way with these resources to get on this firing line, okay? Because then it's a lot easier for me to interact with it with the king and the DDA next turn if he wants to do that. But he doesn't want to do that, because the problem is that this big boy right here he can get on this firing line, but his big gun is only 24-inch range, so he's not going to be able to reach this DDA. And this Helverin right here is not going to pick up a DDA. So in a weird way, it's actually safe. Something that we talk about in the members channel with like advanced strategies and stuff like this, and going over like controlling these firing lanes and like how to read the board turn 1. And this is how, like, perfect example how we're doing that, like reading the firing lanes, what kind of resources can they get on those firing lanes, and knowing that, okay, if I put this DDA here, it's going to be safe. Okay. So going into the turn, this is going to be bottom of turn 1. He's going to get recover assets and no prisoners. So as you're going to see from the scoreboard, he does not kill this Ghost Ark. He does get a little scammed. So he moves up one of the units here, and he has both of these, one with Melta, one with Not. And unfortunately, I just spiked my invuls. Like, I think I literally made like every single invul save. And so that was definitely a feels bad. And he charges in. Obviously, it's not going to pick it up, and the Ghost Ark is just chilling there, right? So definitely not the worst. Now, here's a good thing, is that he didn't expose a lot. So I think smart on his part, where he did the right move in terms of, okay, I'm just going to tie up the Ghost Ark. I didn't kill it, kind of a bummer. But at the end of the day, like, he's not giving me anything to shoot at other than this one knight, okay? So going into turn 2, it's actually kind of tricky, because he gives the bondsman ability to this knight and this knight as well. So it gives them +1 leadership and +2 OC, which was huge, because when it comes to battle shocking, it makes them leadership 6 instead of leadership 7. So I do end up doing 2 Psychomancers, and we do still end up battle shocking the knight, which I'm telling you guys, these Psychomancers, man, this list, like, they'll usually net me like 5 to 10 points a game. It's great. So they battle shock the knight, and I end up scoring a 15 on primary, because I have this objective with 1 scarab right here, as you can see. And then we have this objective and this objective right here. So we're going to get a 15 on primary, and we're going to get established locus and recover assets. We do get tempting target. I have to cycle again, because there's no way for me to deny this objective, because it is OC 8. Ooh, I can make an 8. Yeah, there we go. Check that out. Yeah, OC 8 right there. No way for me to deny it. Okay. So going to the turn, I'm like, tempting target's going to be dead. We need to cycle it. We need to get points. We're going first. So we get established locus, which we can do. Basically, what's going to happen is we're going to get Xeris out of the arc. He's just going to plop right here to get locus. And then the toughest part was figuring out how to make sure. The puzzle was, how do I make sure that he does not get primary on this objective turn 2? Now, we have DDAs. Even in Startshatter, they can roll bad. And I've played Warhammer too much where you'd be like, Kylan, dude, 2 DDAs, Startshatter, Knight on the point. There's no way anything can go wrong, right? They can't. It can. I'll tell you what, it can't. Because if I cannot kill that Knight, especially as a 5 of invul, especially because as a 5 of invul, if it didn't have an invul, I'd be like, yeah, this thing's dead. Things can get weird. So the only other way that I could think of getting around it, because the arc is OC3 and the scarabs are OC1. So there were so many breakpoints where I could get 6 on there, but I couldn't get 8. And so the only way that I could do it would be to move the flayed ones out, which you're going to see that I do. And as like an insurance policy to freaking kill this thing and also auto-see it, which felt bad because like if I kill it in shooting, because the tough part is that these DDAs didn't have any other targets but this Knight. And like I could have put like Xeris. I could have maybe gotten Xeris out to get OC on here, but then I would have also had to put the scarabs on there, right? And it's like, then I'm putting 3 resources on there just to deny this. It was like super awkward. I think in hindsight, and also I think this also exposed, I think this is the turn that I could have played better. I think in hindsight, probably what I should have done is just keep the flayed ones here, because in this matchup, we talk about like win condition. The flayed ones are super, super clutch in this matchup, because if I get a Knight below half and the flayed ones come in and charge, they can actually do some really good damage, because you can also give them +1 to wound for 2 CP. So I think in hindsight, probably what I should have done, I really just want to highlight this as far as the error, is utilize these Tomb Blades, because they really don't do much in this matchup, because everything's OC8 and they're mainly there for like denying primary or scoring like secondaries. I should have moved the Tomb Blades over here and just denied that point. Would have been the smarter play, because then at that point you have 9 OC on here, and then if I kill it, it's cool. And then at the end of the day, like I don't need to commit anything else. And then at that point, I don't also need to make sure I kill it in shooting, where I can keep some of this stuff safe. Because what you're going to see here is I have a lot, like my 2 DDAs exposed, which he can interact with, where there's a world where maybe like I can keep this DDA back and, you know, put like a Locust Destroyer down here or something like that and keep things safe. So I think this could have definitely been played better. It still worked out, but I think going into this next turn, you're going to see how this could have actually like been very bad. So we do end up killing the Knight and shooting, luckily. So the flayed ones are just there. So I just lose them as a resource. So you're seeing how this plays out in terms of at least I lose the Tomb Blades instead of the flayed ones in this case. Like this should have been flip-flopped here. Okay. So going into turn, this is only bottom of turn 2. This game's we're already getting going. We're getting cooking. Okay. So now he's got to come out. He's got to come out to play. We're scoring points, and he's definitely going to come out to play. So Knights are pushing up, movement phase. He's going to get engaged on fronts and behind enemy lines. There's going to be 2 duds, but at the end of the day, he just needs to kill stuff. If he kills this, and this, I am not in a good spot. And this is what I wanted to kind of highlight here for you guys, is that by switching this around and not like keeping these resources more tucked back where he can't interact with them, or at least being able to do some sort of react move, it prevents this situation from happening. Because if I go back and I'm able to drop just my single Locust Destroyer here, this DDA is parked like back here, right? Completely changes the dynamic of the game, where now at this point he can fire once at this DDA. I can react move it back. It doesn't die. This DDA is still safe. And then he gets to shoot. He gets to basically kill a Ghost Ark and Tomb Blades. And cool. Have fun. So going into the turn, this is his movement phase. He's going to pick up the flayed ones. He spikes on the Melta, which was crazy. So he freaking, I mean, makes up for last turn. I got nothing to complain about. So one Melta goes through, rolls a 6. He's within Melta range, just flat 10 damage. I'm like, oh God, dude, here it comes. I don't react move, and then he pops the other one and kills it. So one DDA is down, which was probably as expected, and then he still has quite a few resources able to go at this DDA right here, as you're seeing. He just completely ignores the Ghost Ark, which I think was completely the right call. So looking at the Imperial Knight perspective with Seth, he's like, okay, I know the win condition is if I can get these DDAs off the board and just ignore the Ghost Ark for a little bit, you're not going to have enough anti-tank to punch through this armor coming back, and I'm going to have just control of the game. And he was 1,000% right. The problem is that Kylan rolled his 4-ups, and this DDA ends up living on 1 wound. Not good. So going into the turn, it was pretty simple for me. I'm like, okay, if we can just kill all of this and I can parking lot this, I think we're in a good space. So going into top of turn 3, we are going to get a 10 on primary because we're still going to hold this objective and this objective. And we are just going to try to full send back, and hopefully this will push the game. So we're going to get Bring It Down, Defense Stronghold. Perfect pull this turn because we got all these knights in our face. So I'm going to spend a CP to have this Stalker go through the wall. And this is for newer players. Really something I want to highlight is that sometimes you don't need to kill the knights. Sometimes you just need to tie them up. Good players always talk about there's 3 things that you can either do. You can either ignore it, you can tie it up, or you can kill it, okay? And looking at these units, let's break it down just to help you guys. So obviously the ones in the back, we're ignoring this turn, okay? We don't need to interact with them. The Calidus, this is not a priority, okay? This, we cannot kill, but I know that I can tag it. So it would go into the tagging category, okay? So we're tagging this ones. And then these are our kill targets, okay? So we have ignore here, kill here, tag here, okay? Now let's see how this plays out. So we're going to move up our kill resources. We're going to keep this DDA here. Xerath is going to come out here. King's going to come here. DDA here, Stalker here, all that good stuff, okay? And we are going to roll pretty well. So we ended up rolling a little bit better than expected. We end up killing the two Helverins and shooting. And it opens up the DDA to fire on the Big Knight. I rolled a 5, I believe, on the shots. So it got +1, so I got 6 shots in. It didn't move. It was bracketed, so it was still hitting on 3s. And I handed him like 5 saves, and I think he failed 4 of them. So he just took 16 damage. It was not good. So it was a pretty easy kill, unfortunately, on this guy, because essentially Xerath is going to charge in and the King with the tank shock, and we probably pick him up. And then the Stalker is going to charge here and tie up this objective, tie up these guys here. And we basically call it at that point because he more or less had to go. But at that point, it's tough because you have a King with -1 damage that is essentially in the middle of the battlefield. You have these 2 Melta Helverins or Melta Knights that are tied up. And then you have all of this on the center that he can't interact with. So he doesn't have enough output left with these knights at the top to really get rid of the King. So it's still, in a weird way, I still would hold 15 on primary. And he probably definitely kills this DD next turn. But it's the same thing where I'm still scoring the primary, and then they don't usually have enough output left to get rid of that final like King, DDA, some of that stuff. And then you can just kind of hold the game and then push and win. So all in all, 94-63 to the Crons. And yeah, solid game. And yeah, I mean, I'll have a link to the list down below if you guys want to check it out, play it in your next game. Add it to proxy like an arc or something. But super fun list, super cool list to play if you're kind of bored of the whole Wraith and Warrior thing. And you know, as always, if you stuck around this long, seriously, appreciate you watching. And we will catch you in the next one. Have a great Thanksgiving, y'all.